and why the choice of the Düsseldorf Stock Exchange?
I mean, thank you so much for having me. And I think this listing has been really, really amazing. A lot of good work done by our investment bankers, SMC Investment Bank, Florence Stahl, great legal advisor out of Frankfurt, Germany. It is so important for us, one, as an African-focused firm, it gives us an opportunity to really tap into funds that have traditionally wanted to work with us, but they wanted us to be on a bigger platform, expanding our international presence, and these investors that really want to do more in the continent. So looking at Düsseldorf, it opens a big market for us, but it also shows that Africans can compete in the big market, and helps us also build on a stronger African narrative of getting transactions, getting deals done, and being in world-class environments. And this is just that one big step that we are taking as an Africa-focused firms, but we're also doing that in the big market. And Africa's time is now.
Okay, then. I know that the company is also looking to finance acquisitions at the heart of this listing. Talk to us about the acquisitions you have in the pipeline.
We have big acquisitions we're looking at. First of all, we're getting a lot of funding coming out of institutional investors that are already in negotiations with our investment bankers and our legal team to see the kind of investments they want to put into Centurion, but also looking at a lot of African firms. Take, for example, we have some of the unique African firms out of East Africa, out of Nigeria, out of South Africa, that they have great management teams, and they're working with us, and we're thinking, well, we're going to take on big African transactional firms that are going to look at real estate investment. They're going to focus a lot on doing transactions around green hydrogen. They're going to take a lot on building some of the African firms, even law firms, even consulting firms, other advisory firms that they have the ability, but they just don't have that cash injection and a tough, very good management team that comes in with a private equity mindset to really drive them and boost them up and put Africa on that world class. But the biggest story here is always that it is Africa's time. We are in the big markets. We are in the big place, and we're competing with the best. And you have to give that leverage and that home to this young generation of Africans that they can be at the world stage and really compete and showcase our experience, but also bring more of that much needed financing back home to drive projects on a world-class fashion. So we will be driving a lot of that, and we thank all these institutional investors for already opening the doors for us to really drive up things here, because at the end of the day, we will be part of that group that works on creating that enabling environment for capital to come in. So it's a win-win for the public, it's a win-win for African firms, but it's also a win-win for our continent and those investors that really have that patient capital and want to drive stuff up here.
Now, with this access, broader access to more opportunities, what does this mean for your portfolio in terms of how big or how much expansive it's going to be?
It is something that has shocked me. It is something which I first of all, I get more responsible right now for increasing shareholder value. That has really turned out very well. Our portfolio right now with almost 170 people, we are going to look at doubling that in order to meet the much needed needs and challenges that we have. We already have an office in Berlin and in Frankfurt, Germany. We're going to look at expanding into more European cities and African cities. But then we're also going to really test our portfolio on really doing some of these ESG-driven investments that our shareholders and investors are really pushing us towards. We're going to look at we have to be ESG compliant in everything we do, but we're also going to look at really driving a transition. We come out of the energy space, so that is also going to be a big part of what we're going to be doing. So we will be doubling the size of the firm or even tripling within the next 15 to 18 months in order to meet the much needed needs. And this is just something that it has met with us, but I felt our generation of Africans have to meet this challenge right on. We have to get ourselves in those markets. But the bigger thing here also is that many African companies should be doing this. It should not be about one strong person building. It should be about taking everybody together. Now our shareholders, now even our employees, they are part of this journey. But also what it means is that we are creating more value for our investors, which are employees, big institutional investors, everyday Africans being part of that. So we grow together and really drive up this company together, because that is really needed at this time. But we're going to do it with a mindset of free market capitalism and really trying to get more access and more value for shareholders.
Okay, then NJ, if I could just come in here, you mentioned energy earlier. I'd like to take you up on that. And I know that Centurion, you work closely with clients to accelerate successful implementation of energy projects across Africa. Now, with big oil players embracing the new energy transition, as you also mentioned earlier, how is this changing the oil and gas landscape in Africa? And what's going to separate the winners from the losers from where you stand?
I think in Africa, the first thing is that we have to make sure that the winners are Africans. And we have to beat energy poverty. 600 million people with no access to electricity. That's bad. Every day that happens in this continent doesn't know. 900 million, no access to clean cooking. That's bad. We have to embrace a transition. It is real. It is here. But it must be balanced. It must be pragmatic. It must be fair. There's going to be a lot of divestments happening in the oil and natural gas industry, for example. A lot of companies, the big IOCs like Exxon and Shell, they talk about them diverse in other countries. Now you need to have whether international or Nigerian or African local players that can actually step in and take it. But the big challenge here that we have to look at is gas. How do we monetize natural gas in around Africa? That's going to be the winner. Using gas to power our communities, using gas to drive manufacturing, and using gas as a transition fuel, and even work on things like blue hydrogen. And that is going to be key. But also we have to embrace the ESG, because at the end of the day, how we treat our environment and our communities, it really matters. I mean, we're dealing right now with an explosion around OML 108 and also around with Shiva. We have to make sure that these kind of incidents don't happen. And this is really important at this time.